Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Caitlin Smith, your webinar host from Main Street ROI. We are very excited to be having another of our Master Your Marketing series where we can bring together leaders in the digital marketing world to bring you great content focused on ways you can grow your business. This series is sponsored by all of our partners, Active Demand, AdRoll, SpyFu, WooRank, AdThis, Optimizer, and iContact. For today's webinar, we're excited to welcome Hank Hoffmeyer, Strategic Insights Manager at iContact. The presentation will be about 40 to 45 minutes so that we can have plenty of time at the end for a live Q&A session. Feel free to type any questions you have in the Q&A box along the way and we'll get back to them at the end of the webinar. As always, today's webinar will be recorded and we'll send out a replay video along with the PDFs of the slides to everyone who has signed up. So if you get calls or are pulled away for work, don't worry, you're not going to miss a thing. With that, I'll turn the webinar over to Hank so that he can get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Thank you for joining me. For those of you on the webinar, I'm excited to talk to you about email marketing today, the head and heart of marketing, why your emails must have these 10 things. We all want to make the right decisions, right? We want to feel like a hero, either to ourselves or maybe to others. At times, making the right decision creates worry and can take a lot of work. I don't know about you, but when I'm making a decision to buy something, I oftentimes struggle with making a decision. I always worry about having buyer's remorse. Once I buy something, maybe I didn't make the right decision, or did I get what I wanted or what I needed? In fact, I recently had a dilemma. I was on a vacation to Zion National Park in Utah back in August, and to me, I was considering it to be a trip of a lifetime. From what I hear, the park is gorgeous and has a lot of great views and experiences to be had as far as hiking and just views of the natural areas. There's the Narrows, which is a river that flows through the canyon called the Virgin River, and you can actually traverse through the river. It's basically a water trail. Then there's the overlook trails, which are high above the canyon that give you some breathtaking views. And before the trip, I know that I had some cameras that I can use and use my iPhone to take pictures, and I also had a GoPro Hero 3. And for me, I wanted to make sure that I had the best quality photos and videos so that I can remember my trip. In my heart, I wanted great footage, but in my mind, I didn't want to pay for a new camera because my GoPro Hero 3 is kind of dated, and I felt like the footage wouldn't come out as good with that dated camera. Since I'm a video buff, my inbox is always full of offers for new electronics, whether it be MacBooks, computers, or cameras. And at times, the emails only tell me about the features and maybe the price of the items I'm looking to buy or maybe consider. I ended up deciding to buy a new GoPro Hero 7 Black, which was actually just released a few months ago. And I purchased it on my way to Zion National Park because it made emotional and logical sense to me. GoPro does a great job using emotion and then logic in their marketing and even do it well in their emails. Here's an example of an email from GoPro. They use example footage to appeal to people that have an active lifestyle or maybe have a family, and they're going to tell you how easy the camera is to use. It actually is easy. Once I learned about the Hero 7 Black, I knew it was going to be the perfect camera to preserve the memories of my trip and allow me to relive my experiences over and over. And also, the camera included a lot of the features that I wanted. Your customers are just like me. They're going to use their head and heart to make buying decisions. Email marketing is the perfect channel to appeal to both the head and heart of your customers. Just to give you a little bit of example footage, here's some of the shots that I got from Zion National Park. And actually, up on a YouTube channel, I have a longer version with a lot more video, but that's just a little sample of the quality that I got. And probably can't see that from the webinar, but the quality is actually very good, and I'm happy with my purchase. A DNA study from Stanford involving 1,056 people from 52 populations revealed that people are 99.9% the same. In every human brain, you'll find the same makeup that gives rise to our thoughts and emotions. We're universally the same. People buy on emotion and then rationalize with logic. That's the process that occurred to me when I bought my GoPro. Have you ever wanted something so bad, but you had to convince yourself, a boss, or maybe even a significant other that it was a good idea to buy it? Come on, we've all been there. We've all had to convince somebody or ourselves to buy something. Emotions are powerful and can be used to your advantage in marketing. To win the hearts of your subscribers, you need to appeal to their needs, create a sense of empowerment, develop and mention shared values, enrich the lives and minds of your subscribers, and if applicable, speak about shared ethics with your audience. On the logical side, consumers and buyers want to make a sound, informed purchasing decision. The most effective way to convert them is to offer information such as features and benefits of your products and services, how you compare to your competition, justifying your pricing or maybe offering discounts, and then using the trust factor and reputation, guarantee, return policy, and testimonials to further close the sale. Let's look at the customer journey as a head and heart model. First, you'd want to appeal to the emotions of your subscribers during the awareness stage of the buyer's journey. This is when they sign up for your emails and they get the first few emails from you. What you want to do is get them excited to receive your emails and engage with them. Then you want to move into the consideration phase and switch to using logic to help the customer obtain logical information to complement the emotional stimulus you already provided to them. Once they move to the decision phase, continue to use logic to drive closer to a decision and then a conversion. After the decision, what you want to do is switch back to emotion to help either retain a customer or maybe upsell them. Here's some examples of emails from eye contact that use an emotional logical sandwich. This first email talks about eye contact having live customer support. And we're using a fun game theme here. Our target audience would probably be able to relate to a Rubik's Cube. It's nostalgic and it reminds people of their childhood. What we're talking about here is that automation can be fun if you work with us. The second email is logical. It talks about dollars and cents. It provides knowledge, current trends, and positions eye contact as an industry leader in email marketing. The third email is talking about a webinar. One of the most logical things you need to do is use automation if you're using email marketing. And also what you want to do is have good list hygiene to make sure that your emails are as effective as they can be. The fourth email switches back to emotion. It's an email that closes the deal. It uses terms like you and also uses an image of an eye contact employee, and he's looking directly at you, trying to develop a relationship. You can also think of the emotional logical sandwich as sell, info, info, sell. Now that we have covered a high-level overview of head and heart marketing, let's talk about the 10 things you need to have in your email campaigns. Even if you use an email template, it is your content that'll make the difference. That means your visuals, your branding, and then your marketing copy. When you start to write, you want to build what's called an emotional logical sandwich. Emotion, logic, emotion. You want to lay on the emotion early and thick in the beginning of the process while also providing a logical reason to buy from you. That last appeal of emotion at the end will seal the deal. Remember, your emails need to convey value and insight that will keep them waiting for the next email in your workflow and hopefully allow them to engage with them and then convert to a sale. Humans are emotional. Don't talk to them like a robot. Appeal to their hearts as well as their minds. Tell them what they should want. Tell them why they should want what you're selling. Then make them feel good about deciding to buy from you. Get them interested in your company culture, your cause, or maybe your movement. If you make people feel, you move them to relate with you and move them closer to making a decision. Make them feel accepted and recognized or feel affiliated with your company in some way. Provide aspiration and a sense of respect. You can also make people feel embarrassed or rejected to help them take action. Everyone wants to feel accepted and included. How can your product or service alleviate pain? Even though we have wants and needs to fulfill, making a decision to purchase needs to make logical sense. You can use contrast. Value is completely relative. If I told you that a new camera would cost you $600, that may seem expensive to you. But if I said the original price is $899, logically, you're getting a great deal. You'll be happier with your purchase and most likely come back and shop again. People automatically trust things that seem official. Recommendations from public figures, secure transaction logos, and testimonials are a great way to convey authority. Anything that you do to add credibility to your brand instantly increases your authority. Then you have confirmation bias. First impressions are critical. What a customer sees and interacts with about your brand at first will be the basis for their decision moving forward. A consumer will more likely react to a positive aspect of your business than they would a negative aspect, and they want to align with your values and beliefs. Knowing those values and beliefs are key to shaping logical choices. Then there's the rule of reciprocity. The rule of reciprocity is at play in many areas of marketing. It creates a this for that scenario. I'll give you my email address in return for a coupon or maybe a white paper download. I'll give you money for something of value. What you have to offer needs to be of equal or greater value than what they're offering you. Maybe it's a great service or a great price if I write a review for you. Then we have loss aversion. Customers will try to avoid losses rather than acquiring equivalent gains. It's better to save $10 than it is to find $10. Marketers know that we would rather save 20% than pay only 80%. Saving is greater than spending. Then we have self-serving bias. This is where we like to blame outside forces rather than our own personal faults. Positive feedback is attributed to our own skill and knowledge, while negative feedback is due to default of the system. You'll often see this with clickbait blog headlines, like the example of 5 things well-organized people do every day. People who see themselves as well-organized will share this and shower themselves in praise and point out flaws in others. Marketers that use self-serving bias play into the positive mental picture people have of themselves. Remember, don't start with logic. If you start with the logic or switch to the logical message too soon, you'll turn off your customers. You don't want to start with features or numbers. You first want to win over the hearts of your subscribers. Then you can offer logical information to win over their minds. Then you want to switch over to logical thinking and make them feel like their decision is going to make sense and make thinking easier. Don't wait too long. Once you've triggered an emotional response into your audience, you need to back it up with solid and rational information. If they're ready to commit and you're still going on and on about how the product will change their life, then you're going to lose them. At best, you'll seem unhelpful. At worst, evasive and untrustworthy. Once you made the sale, stop talking. Emotions are powerful. Use imagery and verbiage to pull in and at your subscribers' heartstrings. Tell a story. Everybody loves stories, and it allows them to relate to you or your brand. Customers are more apt to convert if they relate to you or your brand. Make them feel happy, sad, excited, or even grateful. At times, making people feel concerned, anxious, or even angry may work in your favor. You also want to have effective subject lines, which is the third thing you should use in your emails. Have subject lines to appeal to both the head and the heart. This could be tough because you want your subject line to be around 10 words or less, otherwise it may get cut off in an email client that your recipients are using. So you need to be creative to make your subject line stand out. You can also use emojis to help evoke emotion and thought. What you want to do is use bookends. In other words, put the emoji at the beginning or the end of your email subject line rather than replacing words in your subject line, because if you replace a word, there are certain email clients, they may not actually show the emoji and show some weird character, or worse, a blank, then your subject line falls on deaf ears. Emojis can help you stand out in the inbox, but again, make sure you test those emojis. You also want to stroke your subscribers' ego, compliment them, and then hit them with some FOMO, or fear of missing out. People are curious, and you need to play into that. Just be careful. Do not trick your subscribers into opening your emails, because they'll catch on and ignore future emails from you. You don't want to be the boy who cried wolf. Have subject lines that use personalization. Your subscribers are 22% more likely to open your email if you use personalization in the subject line. You can use something simply as a first name in the subject line if you obtain that. It helps if you speak to your audience and make it feel like a one-on-one conversation. With email marketing, I feel like it's one of the only channels where you can actually send a message out in mass, still make it feel like it's a one-on-one conversation. Try doing that with social media. It's either impossible or very difficult to send a personalized message to everyone that's following you on social media. Use terms like you and your to convey a sense of ownership, like they already have what you're selling. You can also use capitalization sparingly to stand out and make a point. Just don't overdo it. Number one, for my eye's sake, and then number two, for the spam filter's sake. Here are some examples of some subject lines with some great capped usage. You can see by the stats that these were effective subject lines. You can capitalize the first letter of each word, or maybe a whole word here and there. You can use an exclamation point, but again, you want to make sure that you're using these items sparingly to stay out of the dreaded spam folder. Here are some other examples of subject lines that I like that use head and heart marketing. With eye contact, we are getting inquisitive. We want you to know about this upcoming webinar, so we're asking a question. IKEA is using your to kind of give you that sense of ownership. Loft is trying to give us a sense of warm fuzzies. I like to feel warm and fuzzy. And Longhorn Steakhouse is using personalization. They're getting my attention by using the first name in the email. Email on Acid, which is an email testing service, is using your, and they're using what I call a bookend emoji. Uncommon Goods is basically using capitalization, capitalizing most of the words in the subject line here. The Skin Store is trying to use emotion, and they're trying to tug at your heartstrings if you're single. If you are single, this will probably resonate with you. And if you're not single, you still might be interested in seeing what kind of deals those single folks are getting, right? So you might open that email. And then Tom's, they're telling you that they're thankful and they have a good use of you in here as well. So that hopefully gets you to open that email. Number 4 is making sure you're using pre-headers for contrast. Pre-header is like what Robin is to Batman. They make a great pair. A pre-header is the first bit of text or information in your email that can be used as an extension of your subject line. You may have seen this in Outlook or Gmail, where you see the subject line and then you see the first bit of text that's in the email. Years ago, it used to say, can't view this email, click here to view online, or click here to unsubscribe. Now, marketers are using it as an extension of their subject line. Since you can only use 10 words, or should use 10 words or less in your subject line, you can use the pre-header as a way to convey emotion, then logic in the inbox for your subscribers and get them to open the email. Let's look at a couple examples. With Loft, they're using the word love, and then they're telling you how to get best-selling items, so that's emotion and logic. Nuts.com is talking about family and then telling you they have everything you may need. Palladium Boots is telling you they want you to be warm and dry, and then they offer free shipping, so you don't have to worry about incurring any additional costs or worry about how much it is to ship something. Columbia Sportswear, they're using a playful subject line here and telling you they have snow-ready items for you. Inside Hook is trying to evoke anger and then offering you advice. There's a good use of anger. Misfit is trying to get you to be self-indulgent, and they're telling you you only need to convince yourself, no one else. Golf Galaxy is getting personal, and they're telling you that they meet multiple needs and wants, whether it's for you or for someone else. Number 5, you want to make sure you're re-engaging your email subscribers effectively. You want to have good list hygiene practices. Not only does a good re-engagement campaign help you win back more potential customers, it's going to help keep your emails added to the spam folder. What happens when you send an email out? These email providers like Gmail, Yahoo, and private domains, they're looking at what's happening with these emails on their platforms. Are people opening your emails, clicking on it, engaging with it, or are they ignoring it? Is it bouncing because it's an invalid email address, or are people unsubscribing or marking as spam? Those are positive and then negative factors that correlate to what's happening with those subscribers. The more negative things that happen decreases the amount of emails that go to the spam, the inbox, and the more negative things that happen, the more your emails get delivered to the spam folder. I like to correlate it to a credit score, right? You have a domain name, xyz.com. Every time you send an email, when positive things happen, it increases your domain credit score, and the negative things push it down. When your domain credit score gets to a certain point, more of your emails are going to get delivered to the spam folder. That's why you want to make sure that you're re-engaging with your subscribers often, even those that are not opening your emails, because that is still negative. So send an email out to someone that hasn't opened in, say, 6 months or maybe a year, try to get them actively engaged, or remove them altogether. Make sure your email appeals to the heart, and give them a virtual hug. Tell them that you miss them and want them back. Tell them things happen and you understand that they've not been opening your emails, and empathize with them. After all, it's you and not them, right? It's your problem, not theirs, right? Let them know you know things happen. Appeal to your subscribers' emotional and logical mind. Let them know that your heart is broken and only they can fix it. Then give them logical reasons for staying. Maybe it's a discount, or telling them what they're going to miss by not opening your emails. Number 6, use images that appeal to the head and heart. Humans are visual by nature. Use images and video to help tell your story, appeal to their hearts. Images also help convey information about products and services. By seeing them, they can envision what it's like to hold, own, or use what you're selling. Images can also invoke strong emotion that will make people take action. Here's an example from Apple. They have a clean and soft branding. They have a large hero image or large image, and they make great use of what I call negative space, a lot of white space or area in the email. They can get away with using more logic earlier on, because most people, when they want to buy a tech product, they probably want to know a lot of the specifications. And we all know that they give back using Product Red, they give back to charities and etc. So we kind of know already that they probably align with some of our wants and needs. And that's Apple. And then if we move on to Storied here, they're using a black and white themed email. They are using appealing images and also a great use of negative space, but this time black. They basically use the images to draw your eyes in and then appeal to you by giving you snippets of either a video or an article that you should be reading. Here's a good example of a re-engagement email from Teespring. Isn't that one of the cutest puppies you've ever seen? Once I saw this email, I said, I have to use this in my deck. They get right to the point, and they have a simple call to action. Craftsman is using contrast by using white and red visuals and different badges, with the blue there pointing things out a little bit. And what those badges are saying is that their products are made in the USA, which may be important to some people. It's aligning with what people are thinking, or maybe what their preferences are when they buy something. With Apple News, they use large images that draw your eyes in to give you a brief description of the article, and then hopefully you're going to click on it and read it. Chime is using fear of missing out, or FOMO. I don't know about you, but when I get a text message or an alert for a text message, I'm always looking at my phone. They're kind of using that in the top image here. They also have a good use of quotes. They're using icons, which are like emojis, and then also they're using testimonials to go ahead and pull at your heartstrings and make you click through that email and hopefully do business with them. Savory Spice, this is a re-engagement campaign. Can you tell they're sad to see us go? And then shameless plug, this one's from iContact. What we're trying to do is spread some holiday cheer. We have a well-crafted header image, and we use a good use of logic to make it a no-brainer to attend our webinar. The image conveys that it's the holiday season, and it also shows you who your presenters are. Number 7, use video. Video is another powerful tool that'll help you speak to the head and heart of your customers. Video is still a fast-growing method of marketing. According to entrepreneur.com, by 2019, online content will consist of 80% video marketing. Forbes says that viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch it in video compared to 10% when reading it in text. Nowadays, tools that you can use to make videos are cheaper and easier to use, so there are no excuses to using video in your emails or on your YouTube channel. Here are some examples of emails that also incorporate videos. 5by is getting us intrigued by magic. I don't know about you, but I'd probably watch that video because this teaser is very compelling to me. It's simple, gets to the point, and gets me to click that watch button. Twitter is including action shots that appeal to the adventurous side of all of us. They also add in cats and dogs, which makes it a little bit more irresistible. And Litmus, which is another email testing service, is basically geared towards people that are more logical. Hence, they're using stats and tech talk. For marketers, coders, and designers alike, this email would be very appealing. Here's the same savory spice email from before, the re-engagement email. They're using an animated GIF to appeal to your heart. Would you give them another chance after seeing this email if you were subscribed to them? I probably would. This one was very well done. Number 8, what you want to do is make sure that you get social. Use social media to further your head and heart conversation or vice versa. Consumers tend to consume content from the same brands on more than one channel, so they're not only consuming your emails, they're probably following you on social media. Make sure to add social icons to your email and encourage social followers to follow you on your email campaigns or sign up for your email campaigns. And what you can do is add examples of your social media posts to your emails to get them to follow you on social media. And then what you could also do is share your email newsletters out on your social channels by using the website link for that. Number 9, make sure to include facts, figures, and percentages. To appeal to the logical mind, you can use facts, figures, and percentages in your emails to help your subscribers learn and decide. Are we 10 times more likely to succeed at a goal if we work with you as a consultant? Does your product clean 40% better than other brands? How much money can I save by using your product or services? By appealing to the logical side of the brain, you'll help drive the decision to a close. In his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, Nobel winner Daniel Kahneman asserts that we typically fear loss twice as much as we relish success. This means that a price decrease has a bigger impact than a price increase. For example, from July 1981 to July 1983, a 10% increase in the price of eggs led to a 7.8% decrease in demand, whereas a 10% decrease in the price led to only a 3.3% increase in demand. People believe what they want to believe. It's hard to change that. But if you use facts, figures, and percentages in your emails, you might be able to alter some beliefs, even if it's temporary. Number 10, what you want to do is make sure you have a strong nurture series and that you're using automation. Research has shown that you need to touch prospects or possible customers at least 8 times before they buy. In some situations, especially when it comes to a service, many marketers give up after about 1 or 2 attempts. At the least, you need to have a welcome email. That's at the very least. It's better to create a whole nurture series, which is a set cadence of emails to help reach the head and heart of your subscribers. And what you can do is use data and actions to trigger an email follow-up. Maybe somebody who has not opened an email, or maybe they did open an email, you could follow up with them. Somebody who's clicked on an email or not clicked, you can send another email. A great example would be sending the same email if somebody didn't open a previous one, but just changing the subject line. The example I have here is you have a sign-up form on your website. Maybe people sign up and they get added to your email service provider account, and day 0 or that first day, right away within the next few minutes, what you want to do is send them that first welcome email. And what you'll want to do is use that logical emotion sandwich, right? Tell them what's going on, what they can expect, and set those expectations. And then on day 2, what you can do is start ripping in more to the emotions. And then day 5, you can have a differentiated email, what makes you different than your competitors. And then finally, 7th day, you have an incentive and get people to buy. This is just a short example. Yours could or should be longer, depending on your business. But what you want to do is make sure you're touching them every so often. Don't overdo it, because then people will fatigue out and unsubscribe from your emails, or worse, mark them as spam. But what you want to do is make sure you're touching people and doing that, sell, info, sell, and keep people opening your emails and provide a lot of value in those emails so people keep coming for more. With nurturing, you want to appeal to the emotional mind and back it up with logic. Remember to use the sandwich method, and then use all the elements that we discussed that pertain to a nurture series. That would be your content, pre-header, images, also video, tie in social media, then use facts, figures, and percentages to help convey information that will appeal to the head and heart of your subscribers. All right, to get started, what you want to do is write down all the emotional and logical reasons a user or a prospect should choose your product or service. Create content and visuals that meet the emotional need and logical minds of your audience. Then plan and test your content and visuals to make sure that, number 1, it makes sense. Number 2, that it's going to look good in the inbox by using Litmus or Email on Acid. And then what you want to do is execute your emails and see how they're doing and analyze. Then rinse and repeat. Make sure to incorporate these 10 things into your email campaigns to win over the heads and hearts of your email subscribers. Appeal to their emotions first, and back it up with logical reasons to buy from you. Zion National Park was awesome. If you have not been there, I encourage you to go. If I did not listen to my head and heart, my pictures would probably look like this. And then when I bought the GoPro Hero 7, they looked a little more like this. And I feel like I did a great job documenting my experience at Zion National Park, because GoPro did a good job of appealing to me via my heart and via my head. What I want you to do is now win over the heads and hearts of your subscribers. What I want you to do is pick up your phone right now and text Hank to 444-999. Again, pick up that phone or write this down. Text Hank to 444-999. And what I want to do is add you to my email journal, where I share a lot of information every month about what I've been doing the few weeks before. It's great apps that I found, books that I'm reading, audiobooks that I'm listening to, and maybe it's just some helpful advice when it comes to marketing. And at times I'll share some great information that's happening with Eye Contact. That comes out on the 1st of every month. I hope you'll join that. You'll also receive an email and learn about the 3 ways that you can start a relationship with Eye Contact or continue a relationship. The first one will be all of the free information that we provide through our blog, our podcast, our website, and webinars just like this. Number 2 could be, if you're looking for an email service provider, you can have a 30-day free trial. Try us out, see if you like us. And number 3, did you know we have a premier level service where we'll partner you with a consultant and then offer you assistance when it comes to email design, graphic design, content, whether it be a blog, email copy, or social media content, and then also give you upper level support that's going to help you win your email subscribers over. And then last, as a parting gift, what I want to do is give you Eye Contact's subject line guide, which has 501 excellent examples of subject lines that are good and bad, that are broken out by industry and types of email. And then also, as a bonus, Eye Contact's content calendar that will help you plan 2019 to be the most effective marketing year possible. It has information to tell you some things that you might want to use in your marketing, certain types of holidays that you can plan for, as well as it has an area to write some information down when it comes to planning out your emails. So again, text 444-999. Text Hank to 444-999. I hope you'll sign up for my journal and get those freebies. And with that, what I'd like to do is hand it back over to Caitlin.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all that great information. And I am pulling up the questions now. Does anyone else have any questions? Just to reiterate, there will be a recording available for the webinar, so we'll email you the replay link as well as a PDF of the slides too. Any other questions for anyone? If so, Hank did leave his email, so hank@icontact.com. Actually, Hank, it looks like we do have one. Erica would like to know, how do you know if the nurture series is too long?
That's a great question, and really what it comes down to is testing. Is you start out maybe with a few messages and see how well your open rate and your engagement does, your click rate, and you could add a couple more. I would say whiteboard it. Put on a whiteboard and say, okay, the first email is going to be a welcome email. It's going to tell them about my company and what they can expect. The next one's going to tell them about what we do in the community, et cetera. And then the next one's going to be why you'd want to do business from us, and then testimonials. And just see if people are tapering off during that nurture series, right? One thing you can also do is have a short nurture series, and then based on what they're doing in that series, you can move them to another one. When somebody is not a customer, then they buy from you, then what you can do is put them into another series that tells them how to use a product or service that you have, because you hopefully know that they're a customer. Or if they seem to be only engaging with specific types of emails when you're sending out your broadcast emails, maybe you can drop them into a series that talks about a specific product or service they're interested in. It really comes down to whiteboarding it out is what I like to do, and then start testing, right, to see how well those emails are doing. The most important one is that welcome email. If you don't have a welcome email now, you need to get one before the new year, because what you want to do is remind people, number one, that they signed up, start a relationship with them right away while your brand name is fresh in their mind. Because if you don't, and if you wait a week or two to send me your first email, I might not remember signing up for your emails, and then mark the message as spam, ignore it, etc. But that is a great question, and it's going to differ from everyone. For everyone, it really just depends on you. If you really want to talk about it, definitely reach out to me, hank@icontact.com. We could talk about your specific situation and talk about some things that we can test.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Roland wanted to know if you could tell him again about step 8.
All right, step 8. That was the social one, I think. All right. I'm going to bring that slide up. What you want to do is try to incorporate social media in your email and email in your social media, if that makes sense. Cross-pollinate, right? What you want to do is at the least have your social icons in your email, maybe at the footer or at the top, to encourage people to follow you on those other channels. And what you want to do is also on social media, say, sign up for my email newsletter, or maybe you can send a tweet out saying, hey, my latest newsletter is available, click here. Because maybe your email is going to a certain recipient spam folder, but they see that you tweeted out the emails available, you're going to get them back in the fold. Another thing you can do is people that have not opened your email in, say, 6 months, what you can do is put them on a Facebook custom audience and serve them ads, try to get them back in the fold. Maybe they don't want your emails as much, but they'll engage with you on social media. So make sure that, like I said, you're cross-pollinating social and email. Again, if you want to get into the weeds, I'd be happy to talk to you.
Awesome. Damien would like to know, how much does timing of the sends play a role?
Again, it depends on you and your brand. The welcome email needs to go out right away. Probably for the most part, most businesses don't want to send more than one email per week, but the nurture series or that first series, I would say the first day, then maybe either the next day or 2 days later, you can send that. If that series is like 3 to 5 emails long, you could probably complete that within, I'd say, almost 2 weeks. But then it really depends, again, what are you selling? If you sell eyeglasses, I wear glasses, but I only buy frames maybe once per year. So if you send me an email every week selling me frames, I might not want those emails every single week, and I may ignore most of them. Once a month would probably be good if I sold eyeglasses. But maybe I sell tech products, right? So maybe once a week is good. Like Best Buy can get away with sending an email out once a week or even more than that. And what you should do is look at people that are more engaged and people that are less engaged, and what you could do is throttle up or down depending on the engagement.
All right. Howard would like to know, how do you go about testing your email content, and what are the vendors you use?
Awesome question. We do a lot of testing just with some seed lists that we have. You can use your personal and coworkers' email addresses. Again, reiterating Litmus and email and acid. And if you actually are become a premier customer with that contact, some of those services are actually baked in and you don't have to pay for it. But what you want to do is, number one, make sure they're rendering correctly, which both of those products do, as well as make sure it's going to make it to the inbox. And we have tools built into our editor that check the spam score to make sure that just based on content that it won't be flagged as spam.
Okay, perfect. Mark would like to know, is there any research that supports use of emotion logic sandwiches?
Can you repeat that one more time? I want to make sure I got that correct.
Yep. He asked, is there any research that supports the use of emotion logic sandwiches?
Yeah, preparing for this webinar, I actually got a lot of the content I had in the stats. It actually does work. A lot of times if you hit somebody, and it's almost like people want to buy, they don't want to be sold to, right? A lot of times if you're using logic, or this is why you should buy from me, and here's the features, here's the stats, here's the percentages, you're going to be turned off. Where if you hit somebody with emotion first, I don't know about you, but I like to feel good about buying something. Therefore, if you appeal to my heart first and then tell me why it makes logical sense, that works. And then after the fact, remember I said I often regret or feel like I'm going to have buyer's remorse when I make a purchase. If you make me feel good after buying that purchase, and some companies do that well, after you buy something, they send you an email, hey, how is this? Or how would you rate this? Or hey, here's how you can benefit from using this product or service. It makes you feel good about that. So there is studies out there. What I'll try to do is, if you follow me on social media, if you search for Hank Hoffmeyer, I take up like the first 2 pages of Google results, but follow me on Twitter, connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. I'm going to try to post some articles that support what we were talking about today.
Okay, perfect. Holly wanted to know, she said, our company does art conservation. Projects in this industry are planned out years in advance. For example, maintenance on sculptures in a city may only occur every 2 to 5 years. Should their approach to email marketing be different than a company who is trying to get someone to buy quickly, like your GoPro situation?
Not really, because even like I would correlate that to nonprofits, right? It's trying to get people to believe in a cause, and then not necessarily say donate or volunteer right away, but you need to get them bought into your cause or your brand and really resonate with you. Therefore, I believe using emotion and logic still is a key factor. But by saying you plan out ahead, just make sure that even though you're planning and it's longer, look at the results, right? Because maybe next year you need to change things up a little bit, or if you can, change things up midstream.
Okay, perfect. Kate said that most of their emails are to people who belong to a member site. So they are expecting the emails. When they first sign up, is it important to include something in the welcome email that says, make sure to add us to your address book to help ensure their emails don't go to the spam folder?
Well, I laugh or LOL at that a little bit when I see that, because most times what you're trying to do is head that off. Most times people are not even seeing that email, so they don't know to add you to their address book. What you want to do is primarily focus on that domain reputation or credit score I was talking about, so that more of your emails do go to the inbox. It doesn't hurt to have that as a blurb in there, because maybe they do go and dig it out of the spam folder. But especially for Gmail, if you go into your spam folder and say it's not spam, it's called TINS, this is not spam, it's actually telling Gmail that your email is a good email, and it kind of turns the tide, especially for that subscriber, maybe not others. But yeah, I wouldn't really focus on that so much. But for membership, you want to give them those warm fuzzies for joining up. A lot of times when I joined, say, forums or something, when I used to do a lot of that back in the day, I would get the emails just saying, hey, welcome, click here to confirm your email. Then the next one is, here's our policies and procedures. And I never really learned about what their mission statement is or what their goals are, et cetera. And they don't welcome me correctly, whereas you should be doing that to all your members and let them get to know you. Send a cadence of 3 to 5 emails telling your members about you and how they can benefit from being a member.
Okay, Perfect. Erica wanted to know if a welcome email hasn't been sent out so far, is it too late?
Well, late's better than never, right? But what you want to do is from this webinar moving forward is have it set up so that it automatically goes out. With eye contact and many providers, you can set this up that when somebody's added to a list, they can go ahead and get the email. Now, there are certain companies where maybe you went to a trade show and you had people sign up on a clipboard or something. You want to try to get them in the system as soon as possible, or maybe use a tablet that's connected to your email service provider to get them added right away and get that sent out. If you texted Hank to 444-999, you automatically got a response, and then my welcome message is going to go out right away as well. And that's how I'm trying to set those expectations and telling you what you're going to receive.
Okay, perfect. Jennedy wanted to know if you could give more details about the spam score.
Right, that is usually and can be a whole webinar in itself about email deliverability. Things have changed over the years. The onus used to be on the email service provider. Years ago, you would start using an email service provider because their IP addresses, or where we send email from, had a high what we call credit score or IP reputation. That still is a factor, but things have changed because bad senders would move from email service provider to another, and they would just burn the IP addresses or degrade them. But now these providers, Gmail, Yahoo, private domains as well, they've caught on, and now they're saying, we're going to look at the IP address that you're sending from, which is your domain pretty much. And every time you send an email, there's good and bad things happening that I mentioned. Good is engaging, it's opening, clicking, and starring it, marking it as important, forwarding it, etc. And then a negative is bouncing and spam and unsubscribing, and believe it or not, doing nothing is actually a negative factor. And like I said, I correlate it to a credit score. And a lot of times the next question to that is, how do I find my credit score? Now, if you're sending from your IP address and you're sending bulk emails, which is hard to do, you can get that credit score. But when you use a service provider, it's a little bit harder. So it's almost like saying, hey, how do I feel my credit score is? If I have a credit card, am I making my payments on time? If I have a cosigner for a loan, which is basically correlated to other links that you have in your email that go out to different domains, are their credit score good, right? And have I done anything bad? Am I doing anything nefarious? If you answered yes to most of those questions in a negative, then your score is probably low. But if you have a good open rate and people are engaging with your emails, and your unsubscribe rate and spam scores, not spam score, but the amount of people on marking messages spam is lower, your rate's going to be good. Your goal is to just keep it elevated, right? And keep doing good things. In other words, don't sell, because the example of the eyeglass, I actually worked with a customer that sold eyeglasses, and every week he would just try to sell frames, and he was wondering why his open rate kept declining over time. What we turned around and did is we did send once a week, but only once a month he would have items for sale in his email, and sometimes it would be different kinds of frames, maybe for different types of events or something like that. Like me, I'm a speaker, so sometimes I like to wear different frames while I'm speaking on stage versus just lounging around the house. But more importantly, what we did is those other 3 emails, we put valuable information: how to clean your lenses, how to care for your glasses, how to improve your vision, stuff like that. Provide value to your subscribers, and every now and then ask them to buy from you. Hopefully that was helpful.
Awesome. Darren would like to wish a happy early birthday to you, Hank. And his question is, in a highly compliance-focused industry, being insurance annuities, the emotion card becomes a bit tougher to play versus the logic card. Sometimes they don't control that messaging or have a tough time pulling those heartstrings. Any ideas?
Darren, thank you, and I appreciate you being on the call today. We're actually connected on LinkedIn. I met him in person speaking at a conference, and we engage with each other normally. That is a great question, but hopefully you can control a little bit of the messaging and try to be a little bit warm, right? Because when it comes to insurance, nobody wants to spend a lot of money and nobody wants to lose something, depending on which type of insurance you're talking about. What you'll want to do is speak to that, and hopefully you can. But if for some reason you're getting boilerplate templates, use images, use coloring to kind of offset the fact that you can't change the content as much. But what you want to do is just try to bend the rules as much as you can, because there's nothing worse than dry insurance emails or those types of emails like regulation, like financial. Those financial advisors also had that issue as well. But I know some folks that I get emails from that actually do a pretty good job. Especially around the holidays, they're sending out warm, heartfelt messages. But Darren, if you want to talk about it offline, we could definitely do that too.
Perfect. David wanted to know, do you have a way to have a video in your email without linking it to YouTube?
There are only a handful, or maybe two, the email clients that actually support videos playing natively in an email client. Therefore, I recommend it's not worth actually embedding videos in email. And then even if you can get it embedded, it'll probably be marked as spam and put into the spam folder. Therefore, the old tried and true thumbnail with the play button overlay that directs them outside that email is best. Another way around that is to use animated GIFs, which is a certain set of frames of the message that play like a video, but they still have to click through to see the whole thing. But if you're trying to convey the sense of motion, use animated GIFs. So again, there's very few email clients that actually support videos playing in email.
All right. Carl wanted to know, can we use a purchase list to drive traffic to build our own list, or should we always use a list we built?
All right, on my YouTube channel, there's actually a specific video that is during a Q&A of a session I did, and it talked about email deliverability, and that was the first question after my session. I have a purchase list. How do I go about using that? My reply always is, do not use a purchase list. In the onset, if you paid minimal for that list and you got a lot of people on that list, and if 5-10% of those people buy from you, you consider that a win. It's actually a loss. Maybe you're going to make money in the onset or right away, but what's going to happen is it's going to degrade and it's going to hurt your domain reputation or your credit score, because number one, depending on how old the list is, your bounce rate might be high. A lot of these list cleaning services don't really work as effectively as they used to, so that doesn't help. People are going to say, I don't know who this is from, because they're on a list that you purchased, so they're going to mark your message as spam, ignore it, or unsubscribe. That's going to provide a lot of bad and false signals. Now, if you already paid for this list, you paid a lot of money, and you're really adamant about using it, what you want to do is sprinkle those emails into your email, or send one-off emails here and there asking people to actually subscribe to your emails. Now, a lot of times people go to trade shows and they have a booth, or a conference and they have a booth, and they say, well, people opted in to get partner emails. Well, then my question would be, do they actually know they're opting into your specific email? Were they told about your brand? If yes, you have a better chance of survival with your domain reputation. And if not, if they're just opting into partner emails, they're not going to know who you are, and it's not worth it. I would be happy to talk about ways to organically or ways that you can pay to grow your list if you want. Just contact me and I'd be happy to discuss that, but don't buy or purchase lists.
All right, thank you. Erica would like to know, with a new change in Gmail with the promotions folder, is there a way to prevent your newsletter from ending up in that folder?
Well, there's something actually new that actually is coming out, and it's starting to spread, where you might want to be in a promotions folder. Let me back up, because I don't think that this is related to that. But what happens is, now we have their primary folder, we have the promotions folder, we have the update folder, and people want to be in the primary folder, which to me is for friends, family, and important emails that I have marked. If somebody I've not bought from and maybe bought from a year ago is trying to get into that tab, I'm going to ignore them or probably unsubscribe. Therefore, I would not game the system. And actually, Matt Cutts, who used to work for Google a while back, was on a panel during a conference. He was asked that specific question, and his reply basically was, don't try to game the tabs, period. That's all I'm going to say. Because what will happen is, if you do that, Gmail will catch on and they're going to punish you, right? But what Gmail actually just did very recently is you can start adding some code to your email that will allow you to put coupon codes that kind of are highlighted, as well as show a thumbnail image as kind of a preview image to help you stand out in that folder. Because when I'm looking to buy something, I actually go to the promotions tab. That's where I go to consume those emails. Now, not everybody does and then there's the unified mailbox people use as well. But I would say Gmail created those tabs for a reason. Don't game them, but get their trust and get them to mark your message as important so it starts going to that primary folder. Do the right things is, I guess, what I'm saying, and then good things will happen.
Perfect. Damien wanted to know, would you send an email during a holiday week such as this week?
Sure. Even if, you're going to get lost in a sea of so many emails, it's still helpful to get something out there. You can use emojis to help stand out. What's important is a lot of brands use emojis around the holidays because they're cute and there's a lot of holiday emojis, right? But then what happens is that starts to taper off. And what you want to do is continue using those throughout the year because it helps you stand out in the inbox. And make sure you're using that subject line and then the pre-header effectively. But yes, I would say it's worth sending during the holiday season because Gmail is also looking, and other providers are looking at your frequency and how often you send. And if that changes drastically, that also may send some bad signals to those providers. But I actually just put a video on LinkedIn talking about that most people or most brands start to slow down around the holidays, where I think that you can outpace your competition by sending more email out.
Awesome. David wanted to know, he said their leads are often 1 to 1.5 years from introduction to close. How many emails do you send in that length of time without it getting redundant?
Wow. So for what I'm hearing is it's not that they're stale leads. It's just that they get a lead and it takes them almost a year to nurture them to a sale, right? If that's the case, that nurture series is vital. It's important because you want to stay in touch with them, because if it's taking them that long to decide to buy, you want to kind of get in their ear every so often, because if not, your competitors probably are, or they're just going to go ahead and search for a competitor because they've forgotten about you. Therefore, it might be difficult to come up with a lot of content to keep sending them every week or every month, but definitely do that. You can also at times check to see if people visited your website and then trigger an email, because maybe you have an email going out every month, but a little while after you sent one email, they visited your website. You can follow up. Hey, we noticed you stopped by. Is there any questions I can ask you? Again, it just depends on what they're doing, what business they're in, and that would dictate how many emails they should send out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. It looks like that wraps up all of the questions. If I did miss any, again, feel free to email Hank. If there's any others, we have a few more minutes. But it looks like that's it. So thank you all so much for joining today's webinar, and thank you, Hank, for your great information. As a reminder, we will be sending out the replay video and the PDF of the slides, so look out for that. And we hope to see you next month for our next Master Your Marketing presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.